Looks like it's going to be a decent opening. We're just about getting ready to kickstart at the 24,300 mark. Maybe some consolidation over there, Prashant.
No, looks like it. So we'll see. We'll track what the open and the first rates and stocks, etc. look like in just a bit from now. The first rates are going to come up. It's a flattish start, absolutely flattish start. Nifty is at about 24,322. And you've got the Sensex, which is starting about 40 points, 50 points lower. So it's flat to slightly lower start for both the indices at this point in time. Let's just look at the Nifty Bank as well. Bank Nifty is down about 0.4%. We're at about 52,400 on the Nifty Bank. And as indices, maybe just look at mid-cap index. It's got a 1/3% gain. The mid-caps and small caps outperformed large caps on Friday. And I think at least, this morning, that is the case once again. So small cap index actually is up even more, about 0.75% higher on the small cap index. 30 points so far on the Nifty is what we have, but I think it's a lot of PSU names once again. A lot of PSU names. The biggest volume-led gains this morning are all mostly from the PSU space. Okay, well, also a lot of stocks in focus, right? So let's get straight to some of the top movers this morning. Tata Motors, Jaguar Land Rover retail sales growth of 9%. So Tata Motors is up about 2%, looking pretty good there. Titan, it was a decent growth actually, 8% in their domestic jewelry business. But the stock is down 3.5%, so perhaps the street not happy with that. Marico, actually the street has liked. Both Marico and Dabur are in the green right now. So Marico consolidated revenue has seen high single-digit growth. Dabur is also up almost 1.5% right now at 615 rupees on the back of its update that has come through. Bajaj Auto, by the way, on the launch of the CNG bike, just flat terrain right now for Bajaj Auto, but still hanging on to the green line over there. BEML is another stock. Big moves coming in this morning, 4% higher on BEML. Rail Vikas Nigam, RVNL as well, up in the green. Ircon is up in the green, 5% higher over there. So that entire PSU bunch. G Shipping is doing very well, up almost about 7%. So keep an eye out on that. And then you have something like a Nykaa. The beauty business continues to do well, but the fashion business is facing a challenge. But the company says the consolidated revenue growth will be 22 to 23%. So keep an eye out on that as well. So Nykaa up almost about 2.5% right now. Plenty of stocks, even in the broader markets, continue to be in focus, but the headline index is just about flat with a bit of a negative bias to it. Also, watch out for the Nifty IT index. Remember, big earnings coming through this week in the form of TCS and HCL Tech. So, those stocks are going to be in focus as well.
Well, the rail-related stocks are flying away. RVNL is up 8.5%. Big move is what we're seeing out there. IRFC up close to 5%. Ircon up close to around 4%. RailTel up close to around 3.5%. Texmaco Rail, you just name some of those stocks. They're up anything between 3 to around 8% in today's trading session. On the flip side, we have some disappointing news that came over the weekend on Patel Engineering with their promoter, their CMD, that's the chairman as well as the MD of Patel Engineering, Mr. Rupin Patel, who was aged around 57 years. He passed away all of a sudden. So that's having an impact on the stock. Stock is down close to around 8%. A stock that's doing very well, though, today is PC Jewellers on very high volumes. That stock, I think, is up close to around 8 to around 9%. So that's one of the big movers on volumes. On lower volumes, you have Metro Brands. That stock is higher, though. Volumes picking up on that one, opened up with a gain of around 4.5%. Man Industries, they have bagged the largest order of around 1,850 crore rupees. It takes the total order book to around 4,000 crores. So explains why that stock is up close to around 7%. Metro Brands, by the way, the last time I checked, I think let's pull that back up. It's up close to around 10% odd. Swan Energy, well, there was a large trade that took place, and I think an initial trade, and that stock as well is up close to around 5%. And Nava Limited, they have received 2 large-scale exploration licenses for lithium and other minerals by Mamba Collieries. That, in fact, is one of their subsidiaries. So on the back of that news, that stock as well up close to around 5%.
Right. It's lots of names, right? As you said, from the railway space, RVNL, IRFC, Ircon. So that's the other theme. PSUs, which are doing very well. BEML, by the way, is up about 5.5%. MOIL is up about 5%. And I could go on with many of these PSU names, which are rallying hard at this point in time. We've got, 30-point cut on the Nifty right now. We're at about 24,291. And it's looking pretty solid all across. One name I want to sort of look at on, a smaller name, but volumes are very large, is HBL Power. It's gone from 500 to 600 in 4 days. Ferocious move, really. It had a bit of a sideways move, sideways consolidation kind of a move for a while, but it's corrected all of that. I mean, actually, for the last, I think, almost 5-6 months, it didn't do very much, but, 20% very, very quickly coming through on HPL Power in a pretty short time span. What else? You've got Metro Brands. I think we did sort of mention that. Metro Brands is up 12%. 12.5%, 13% now actually. So that is a sharp shoot up and sharp surge on Metro Brands coming through from the last close, Friday's close. And it's sort of developing as we speak. So stocks at about, 1363 right now at this point. Stanley, which is the recent listing, that's up about 4.5%. So we'll sort of have that up for you as well. Anantraj Industries, I think there was an initiation note by, I think it was Nuvama, 5.5 on Anantraj. Stocks at about 542 at this point in time. And Man Industries is up, Nava is up, Suvain is up, Suraj Estates, another one of those names that we highlighted last week as well. Suraj Estates is up another 5%. But, you go down that sort of path in terms of tracking, big gainers. Down the list, volumes start to thin out. So you've got to keep that in mind.
I just want to mention one thing on the PSU banks, in case you missed it, right? Bank of Baroda is the one that's really taking a knock right now. I think it's down 3.5% right now. And as Abhishek was telling us earlier, right, the bank has lost market share. Their deposits have been very weak, the weakest in the last 12 quarters. So the street doesn't like that at all. So it's now, more premium perhaps paid to the private sector banks versus PSUs because of the performance that we're seeing.
Absolutely. So on a couple of more names on the downside, BSE is coming up with a bit of a cut. There's Bombay Stock Exchange, 1.5% lower. There is something called Zentech, which is down about 3.5% It's the sort of defense, sort of anti-drone systems maker. JSW Infra is down about 2%. It's got volumes, about 2% cut. Stocks at about 350. Exicom has had a one-way rally, 2% lower. These are just pullbacks after what we've already seen. TARC, that's Ambit had initiated coverage and highlighted that as one of their top small cap real estate picks. I think it's an entity which came out of Anantraj. Stocks down about 3.5%, 224. Kaya, which had a bit of a move, is down about 1.3, 1.7, 1.8%. So lots happening with the individual names. The Nifty is kind of flatlining now. It's got about 10, 12 odd point cut, 24,313 at this stage. Ashish.